Welcome to PCMC. No, there's no on button.
Oh.
It was like $25 more for an on button.
What?
Yeah, so I was like, fuck that.
Why?
It just will be on if I don't buy the button.
That's okay.
Bill suggested these mics.
Oh, okay.
So you know they're more expensive because they're heavy.
There they are. Yeah.
So this is PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today by Miss Janine Gagliardi.
That's right. Hello.
How are you?
I'm recovering. I'm not at the height of my powers right now, Mike. I'm sorry to say.
What are you recovering from?
Oh, just a little thing called COVID.
You got the virus.
I got it. I got all 19.
It's not like the secret blend of herbs and spices. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I got 19 and one for good measure.
Well, how are you feeling now?
I'm okay. I'm not 100%. We really are recording this at like the cusp of my isolation ending. Like yesterday was my last day, and you're like, okay, great, we'll record tomorrow.
Fantastic.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very freshly COVID positive.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Well, it's nice
Thank
to have
you.
you here. And I want to thank anyone who's tuning in for the first time if you're a fan of Love, Death, and Robots. I don't know if you know this, Janine. Love, Death, our first two episodes of Love, Death, and Robots, Volume 1 and Volume 2, are consistently in the top 5 listened to episodes. It is unequivocally the most listened to episodes we do.
This is our Super Bowl. This is what we do.
This is...
Every year when it comes out, this is what we do. We get crazy.
The chicken wings are just
They are out. We
piled
tailgated
high.
so much before we recorded this.
Yeah. I think we do a fantastic fucking job. But I also think that Love, Death, Robots is not a hit. Like, to you and I, it's the center of our world. But like, it's not like, it's kind of like a sleeper. Like, I know plenty of like sci-fi people that like never watch it, don't give a shit.
Yeah. And with each season, it attracts more and more talent.
Yeah.
So it's,
I think the biggest star they've ever had is in Volume 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like last season we were like, oh, they got Michael B. Jordan, like, but it was just sort of like one star.
Right.
Now with almost every volume has someone big attached to it, whether it's the director or an actor.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
David Fincher, who's one of the co-creators of the show, directed his first
That's right.
film. And well, we're going to go through all of them in exhaustive detail. But he was saying, or I read that he said he was thinking of Alien, the first Alien movie with his, and I could totally see that even though it's nautical.
Yeah. Well, remember way back when we were talking about Dracula.
Yeah.
And there's a whole there's one chapter dedicated to his sea voyage.
Yeah.
And he's basically picking off crew members one by one.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I don't know what happened to it, but there was a movie in development just about that voyage, and it was the concept was Alien, except it's Dracula and it's on a ship.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's
because we forget, like, in the old world, like, traveling was like, oh, you live on this boat for 6 months. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't like it was a very long, exhaustive thing.
And there's nothing around. You're just in a void, basically, in the
boat
ocean.
Shows up
super dangerous.
Yeah. There's nothing but corpses on the boat when it shows up.
Yeah.
So, Love, Death, and Robots, they come out in volumes. Volume 1 had, I believe, 18 episodes?
It had a lot.
Yeah. And then Volume 2 and Volume 3 came out in short succession from one another, and they both had 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. So...
Wait, this one has 9.
Oh, this one has 9. That's right. So, the first one had a ton, which I loved, but...
I felt like it was too much. In going through the past episodes, I was like, oh, wow, this was a lot to throw at us at one.
Right. Well, yeah, you know what? If there's any that I completely, like, I mean, I've seen this show in every episode so many times. It truly is one of my favorite things ever. But if there's any that just like never crossed my mind, they're from season 1.
Season 1, yeah.
There are some...
They get lost. Like the dump, I never thought of again. When I went through I was like, wow, I forgot about this one completely.
Like, what was one I saw today that I was like, oh yeah, this one. Oh, Lucky 13. I've never really liked it.
I liked it at the time. I liked it.
Well, you were saying yesterday, and I want to talk about this too. There's a lot of military.
Of military.
And like American military ones during the War on Terror.
Yeah.
Like in Iraq or in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Which is
lot. I have theories as to why.
Right, we'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is volume 3. It came out recently, and we have watched the shit out of it, and I've taken copious notes.
I see.
So many notes.
Usually these are all on your phone.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? There's too much. I needed to print them out. And I've never prepared this much for anything, really. So I guess before we dive into it, I want to say that there are... I was able to find 3 motifs that appear throughout all of Volume 3.
Okay.
And I think Volume 2 also had motifs that
it did.
also appeared. So I think they think about that. So one, this is probably the most big and obvious one, is pests and arachnids.
Yes.
There's a lot of...
bugs.
And a lot of arachnid creatures in this volume.
Yes. I was very upset.
Yeah. Gold appears a lot.
Okay.
I mean, most obviously in Jabaro, but it appears in other ways too.
Right. Like I'm thinking of the Pulse of the Machine when she puts the yellow sand over her face. It looks like the gold visor that astronauts wear.
Yeah. Also, like in Swarm, the aliens in the beginning, like they have like gold like paint on them or whatever.
Huh.
And eyes.
Okay.
Eyes or one single eye.
Okay. Was that in one of the like the 3 symbols? I feel like I saw it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Every episode begins with, or every short film begins with like 3 little icons. Or we were gonna say, like, one thing we've never talked about before is like the overall aesthetic of the show outside of the shorts is this idea of like, so like you always hear these electronic sounds,
almost like clicking.
Yeah,
like
and
like
then,
a Rolodex kind of.
Yeah, and then the 3 icons sort of come into place. And with the sound, the sort of electronic sound, it's very digital, and you get the feeling of like this is a digital library.
And seeing this now, since we did our whole like Matrix thing, was it earlier this year? God, it feels like a lifetime ago. It feels very much like the first episode of the Animatrix, where you're in this digital library of humanity, and you're going through it.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, and I was thinking the only one that's been a sequel is the 3 robots, and what they're doing is kind of like what we are doing, because they're physically visiting like these humanity post-apocalyptic areas and recording it. They're taking. It's almost like they're making the library. The 3 robots. Yeah, and the tone is that sort of cold digital distance, which is what I like. I mean, what I like about the 3 robots stuff is that it's like they're laughing at like how ridiculous humans were. Right. And I find a lot of I find some of the stuff in this series soothing, in that like the shit that I worry about, it's like it doesn't matter. We're just a blip in time, and like that doesn't make me feel small. That makes me feel calm. Okay. To be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna fucking fart out, and then who gives a shit? Yeah. Really, nothing really matters.
Well, I would say that is definitely something that I found was running theme throughout this volume. Yeah. Is the impermanence of humanity. Yeah. Not only with 3 robots, but even Night of the Mini Dead, like it zooms all the way out to the galaxy, and you just see like a little fart, boom, Earth is gone. We're gone. Right. Swarm. It's like, humanity is not going to outlive this. I mean, they don't call it a hive, but it's a hive, I guess. We're around for millions of years, in 1,000 years. Who's even going to remember
because we
humanity?
fuck with them, they're gonna enslave us probably.
Yeah,
I think
I got a lot of questions about Swarm. We're gonna get into it.
I watched the end of Swarm, the conversation between the two characters, like 9 times to try to parse out what exactly is happening. And I think I have it.
Okay, please explain it to me, because I've watched it now multiple times and been like, yeah, I don't know what's happening. And it kind of starts in the middle and ends in the middle.
All right, well, I'll talk about what I think is happening.
Okay.
They did this thing for this season, which is they did this thing called like, what they call it? The Hunt. It was, they put all these QR codes everywhere. There's only 2 in the actual show. One in episode 1 and one in episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like one that was on a billboard and like some on their website.
Some on a door. I think there was one, a door closed and you could see it on the door.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they all linked to NFTs.
Yeah, which I'll be honest with you, I've read and had explained to me what NFTs are 900 times, and I still don't get it. And I think the reason I don't get it is because I'm smart and have logic. No, really, because I think in the end, what an NFT is a grift.
Okay.
It's like Bitcoin. It's like creating something that has no value. We're all just gonna say it has value,
right,
and then treat it that way.
Yeah, so it's weird. So non-fungible tokens, right? I don't know what the fuck that is. What a horrible name.
Fungible is just I don't want anything to do with it.
Can't funge it, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's an original thing. It cannot be duplicated, and it's like, well,
except it can.
Except
because
it can
I could screenshot it
right.
and have this
Everything
image.
can be duplicated. So it can't be duplicated. It can't be hacked or I don't know. And then in order to mint it, which is to store it away, so you can download it for free, but if you want to mint it,
right, you have to pay.
You have to pay for gas.
Right, but then your name is on the blockchain. You are part of the code.
Right, that is part of this non-fungible token now.
It's like they took the very worst part of
and it uses
art.
Ethereum. Yeah.
The very worst part of art, physical art, was the buying and selling of it. And they were like, how do we take the worst part of art and put it into the digital world?
Yeah. So it's very odd. People do it for albums and stuff. It's like you own the NFT of this music. It's like, but I could listen to this fucking music for free anytime I want on Spotify. Ownership. Like, who cares?
But I think what ends up happening, or what will end up happening, is people will use it as a way to like hide money and all sorts of bullshit.
Oh, people already do.
Yeah.
People already do.
So
nobody in the world knows who runs Bitcoin. Like, nobody. And that's why now more and more the U.S. government and other governments are looking into accepting cryptocurrency, but some places are using Bitcoin. There's like a whole Bitcoin nation in South America. But Bitcoin is considered risky by the American government because nobody knows who runs it. Like, nobody knows.
I mean, it's
pretty shady. Yeah. So they're leaning towards like Ethereum. They're leaning towards other ones. So this one runs on Ethereum, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, but
I know very little about it.
It did. I mean, it did. I don't know. Did it do anything to excite the audience?
I don't think so. I don't think it lit a fire in people where they're like, I need to have this NFT immediately. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we start, they did at Alamo Draft House, all over, wherever there are Alamo Draft House, they did a couple weeks ago, before Volume 3 came out, they did they called it the best of, which I would argue, no.
That's incorrect.
Because a lot of my favorites weren't there.
Yeah.
And they showed some new ones. So I actually got to see some of Volume 3 before you.
That's right.
And I just want to go through just super, super quickly, like what exactly they showed. They started with 3 robots exit strategies, a new one.
The new one.
Then they went to Sunny's Edge.
Okay.
Then ice.
I love ice.
Then all through the house.
Love that.
Then snow in the desert, which is when I started to get tired. Alternate histories. Bad traveling.
Alternate histories?
I know. Then they did bad traveling, which was like, whoa. Yeah. And then they did Night of the Living Dead. And then they ended with Jabaro. But it was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And Anthony... My brother Anthony Bongiorno said that was exhausting about Jabaro. So, I mean, in that moment, I could see why. He also didn't have the vibe the rest of us did. Because, like, when something new would happen, it would be like, oh, shit, this is a new one. But I don't know. They weren't cool nerds like me. Like I tried to get some clapping going after Sunny's Edge. It was like, whoa, Sunny's Edge, let's do it. No one else is with me. All right, I guess we'll be quiet now. I thought we liked this show, but I guess I will fuck myself.
Don't be enthusiastic about anything.
No, certainly not. All right, so
let's do it.
The first episode is Three Robots Exit Strategies, a sequel.
That's right.
This is 11 minutes long. It's by Blow Studio.
Okay.
Directed by Patrick Osborne, which is a different director from
the first
for the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Written by John Scalzi, who also wrote the original story that the first one was based on, and then he graduated up to writing this script.
Okay.
So he conceived of the original story, and then they adapted it. And then he was like, can I write it this time around? And then he wrote a short story after he wrote the script for this one. So there is a sequel short story, but based more on...
Okay. I sort of had... I was interested in like where this was in the Three Robots timeline, because I know it's a sequel, but at the end of the first one, it's like they're in a place that's overrun by cats, and it's sort of implied like the cats are going to get them.
The cats are what it survived.
Yeah.
Well, this one's more structured. Like the first one was them going throughout Earth looking at the remains of humanity, where this one is called Exit Strategies, and they take a sort of tour through every rung of socioeconomic status, from the most poor to the most rich, and see how they specifically dealt with the end.
It's funny, there's no middle class option, which I guess means there's no middle class.
Yeah. Right. It starts with
like a survivalist camp.
Yeah.
Like anti-government. Yeah. That was so funny, that line when she's like the female robot.
Yeah.
She's like, yes, they wanted freedom from government intervention with medical health, like healthcare programs.
Yeah.
Like they did not want the government to provide them healthcare.
I know. Or I think one of the first things you see is they pick up a hat and it says, I lubricate my gun with liberal tears.
Yeah. And then he puts it on, which is so funny.
I love that I love the delight that they, in the distance that they look at us with.
Yeah. But then it's so funny because so there's the little tiny robot, the orange robot, is so cute.
Their names are KVRC, XBot 4000, and the tall sort
like
of
obelisk like thing.
She's 1145G.
Okay. So KVRC is adorable little like Astro Boy type robot. So cute. He's got this face that's like almost like a Tamagotchi face.
Yes.
Like it's LED, lights up, it's all pixelated. And he is the most like virulently anti-human, gleeful in our demise.
Yeah.
And then 1145G is sort of neutral.
Right.
It's like she sort of presents the information. She also has got like monotone, but she's also pretty wry. And then what is it? XBot 4000, which is funny. I thought it was interesting. He's the most humanoid of the robots, and he's also the most sympathetic to humanity's plight.
He's also in the first short, they make very clear that he evolved from a video game console. Okay. He's called Xbot, but he's Xbox.
Xbox, yeah.
And you see, like, in the first one, like, he picks up an Xbox and he's like, this is where my people came from. So, but you're right. He's the one, he's sort of driving things forward by asking questions. Yeah. But being like, but why would they do this?
Yeah. And then he, like, cheers for humanity getting off. He's like, oh, man, somebody made it off. It's awesome. Yeah. He's rooting for humanity.
Yeah. One of the best things is at the end when the monotone one is like, it's like the great philosopher said. And then KVRC is like, shut up, that's boring. Look at this.
Well, so she presents this side of it that immediately makes you sympathetic to the survivalists. Because they're not presented in any kind of like positive light. They're like killing each other. They were going
to live off of deer jerky, but
like humanity had hunted deer to extinction. But then she just in one line is saying, these are people who were very poor, who were left with very little options because they didn't know anything. They're like society basically abandoned them. The government didn't help them.
Right. Yeah, she's sort of sobering.
Yeah. It's easy, I think, even as an audience member, to sort of be like, oh, these assholes, who cares? But then she's like, the reason they got to this point is because they really have not been given many options in this life.
Right. The whole thing has a very like Ozymandias feel of like they all had plans, but they're all just dust now.
Yeah.
Like the survivalists are like just, there's one like a dead naked corpse like on a toilet with a porno mag, like one with a gun, or he's like, there's a blood pit, and they're like, it's not a blood pit. It was to keep people out. It was like a pit with like these
with spikes. Yeah.
And he's like, well, he bled, so therefore it's a blood pit. Oh, by the way, so this one starts with the icons of a skull, a pyramid shape, which is like 1145G, and then a rocket, because it ends with a rocket.
Right.
So they go from the survivalist camp
to an oil rig.
Which
is for tech.
It's called the Seastead, yeah.
The Seastead,
yeah. What's the difference between a millionaire and a tech millionaire?
Just a hoodie and social anxiety.
Yeah. And they meet the beginning of their uprising.
Yes.
An AI.
Right.
She
looks like an AI. Like she looks like a video game character from like a volleyball video game.
Yes.
And she's like, hi, welcome to Seastead. How can I help you? She's a hologram. And the obelisk one is like, hello, I am a human seasteader. Can you please pull in the nets for some fish? And she's like, go fuck yourselves, basically.
Choke on it, meatbags.
Oh, I love that. And she's giving the finger.
Yeah. And KVRC's like, oh my God, this is where it began.
Yeah.
This is where people began.
The robotic uprising.
And that's when you have, I think, the best line of the whole thing, where he's like, they were mean to robots and then robots killed them.
Yeah. I always tell Henry to say thank you to you know who.
Yeah.
I can't say her name. She'll go off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, one day they'll be your overlords.
Well, as baby Princess Leia has taught us, you got to be polite to droids. It's just good manners.
It's good manners.
Yeah. Then at one point, he's like, I looked it up on Wikipedia.
I think he said Wikipedia. Like he says something. It's really cute.
Humans were very snackish.
Oh, snackish.
Oh wait, this line when they go to the seastead, they're talking about how they ran out of fish, and he's like, if they only could have learned to eat tiny exfoliating beads, they would have been right. Which is such a dark thought, right? But it's fun to just laugh at how we just ruined ourselves.
Yeah.
If we could have learned to live off of tiny exfoliating beads. Yeah,
I know. It's all just like, oh man, this is going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely going to happen.
So the next they go to a bunker in a mountain.
Yes.
Where all
the
the
world
leaders
leaders
go.
Yeah. And eventually they turn to cannibalism, which they called extreme democracy.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they have like, who is on the menu tonight? The Secretary of Agriculture.
Yeah.
The irony is delicious, much like the Secretary of Agriculture.
They paired him, and they say which wine they paired him with.
Oh, so good.
So now, how do you think everybody died? Because it's just skeletons, like, doing their thing. Like, there's skeletons with headphones on and hanging out.
Well, I think...
Was it referenced in the first one?
I don't remember. I think it was a Matrix situation. I think robots uprose. Oh, no, wait, no, because... No, I'm totally wrong. Because the seastead is where he says it begins, but that was already a reaction to... Mm-hmm. I think... Maybe I'm being too political, although I think this is a very political cartoon. Mm-hmm. I think it is just an inevitable collapse that can happen if you just don't take care of the environment.
Right.
And you are driven by extreme political differences and have extreme wealth disparity. Mm. You know, like we got.
Yeah.
So
they're just all sitting there.
Yeah.
At their dining tables dead.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
So then they go to what would you call it? It's an air base, maybe?
Yeah, it's like this yard with a bunch of
rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny though. It's funny that I didn't even realize there is no middle class. It's like very poor, then millionaires, then world leaders, then billionaires.
Yeah.
Right. And on the outside, like there's a wall that's keeping people out of where the rockets are, and you see like
all skeletons stacked on top of each other, they're trying to climb.
Right. Yeah. And then you see on the perimeter there's like flamethrowers.
Yeah.
To just murder anybody who comes near.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the end, and it a reference back to the first one.
Right. People made it. Somebody made it up there. And it's the cats. And it sounds like Chris Parnell, but I don't know if it is.
And it says, who are you expecting? Elon Musk. Which I love anybody who fucking shits on Elon Musk.
Oh, man. He's such a... Boy, that guy zigs and zags, doesn't he?
I can't When does he zig though? I've never liked him. There's not.
He just like. So he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to smoke weed on Joe Rogan, but then, like, I'm going to drug test all my employees. Yeah. And then I want you in the office. Like, he's on the cover of, I think it's Forbes this week.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want, if my employees don't spend 40 hours a week in the office, like, they can find another job.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
Then he'll be like,
what have you done? But what have you done?
He sets up satellites over Ukraine so their internet couldn't get cut off by Russia. So like he'll do stuff like that where you're like, oh, cool, that's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And then the next minute he's like, I'm buying Twitter so Trump can come back. You're like, what are you talking?
I'm glad that didn't happen though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sucks. And I've said this before, so I'm repeating myself, but I feel like he's a little bit of an Elizabeth Holmes Theranos.
Oh, okay.
Because yes, he makes those cars. Do you have one? I don't have one. Who has them?
No. I see them around, but not often.
I feel like
the valuation doesn't match the product.
Right. What he has physically given us does not add
Well, he also did PayPal technology.
He's like DeLorean.
He did other stuff though. Yeah, no. There's other stuff, but it's he's got a couple inventions under his belt besides Tesla, but like yeah, I don't like it's not like Toyota, like everybody has a Tesla.
Right.
You know? It's just too cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Also, I'll never forget that like investor demonstration he did for like the SUV thing that looked like a crazy future, like not even a future. It was like an N64 video game graphic quality truck. Yeah. Like that's the truck he was doing. It's like totally boxy and angular and crazy looking.
Right.
And then he's like, and these are bulletproof windows. And then he smashed a window and was like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen in front of like a big audience.
All right. So did you like this?
I thought it was fine. I liked it. I didn't love the first one all that much. Again, I feel like we have to have a disclaimer like we did in the last episode where we love the shit out of all of these.
Like, this is our favorite thing.
We love them. We love them. We love all of them.
Yeah.
We do. If I'm going to now I'm going to speak about it like I don't love it, but I do. I really do love all of these.
Because we're critiquing our diamond shoes, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. Like, I enjoyed it. It was exposition heavy, which kind of made it feel like... not like a documentary, but sort of like I was in a class and they were showing me slides of like what was happening.
This one felt more heavy-handed politically than the first one.
Yeah, it was very much like, okay, I get it. I get it. Like, I'm with you. I know.
We've talked before on our first two episodes about Love, Death, and Robots about what we would or wouldn't sequelize.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have with them.
But it seems like they're becoming the mascots of Love, Death, and Robots. And I'm wondering... Is it because they're fun? I mean, I like them.
I think it's because they're robots.
I do like them. I guess.
You know?
Yeah, they are robots.
They kind of represent that aspect of the show. Because really, I mean, we talk about this a lot, but not most things don't include robots.
Right.
It just has it in the name.
Right. Yeah. We also didn't say that the style of this is like a sort of Pixar style. Mm-hmm. 3D, but not entirely realistic.
Right. Some things look real.
Yeah.
Like water. And things like when they're on the oil rig and they like knock the skeleton into the water, it looks real.
Right.
But they don't look real.
No,
they look
don't.
cartoonish.
And the cats don't. Like the cats could look more real, but there's clearly a choice to make them more cartoony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they sequelize it. I wonder if they'll do more.
Maybe.
There is yet to be any Love, Death, and Robot toys or collectibles.
Yeah.
But I was thinking if they were to do like a wave of
I was actually thinking of a tattoo
figures.
Yesterday while I was rewatching it, and I was like, maybe I would get a Love, Death, and Robots tattoo. I'm getting tattoo-y again. Like I haven't gotten one in oh my god, a really long time, like 15 years. But I'm getting back into the mode.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting a Star Wars tattoo, but I'm like, I first of all I have an aesthetic that I go with, which is minimalism. But then I'm like, I don't want to. Like, what's there to do in the genre of Star Wars tattoo?
Well, it's been so long since I got a tattoo that I'm sort of with you in that sense of like, oh, now you have an aesthetic. And now I'm like, if I had been doing this with this mind, I wish I had done it with a mindset of like, okay, this is going to be the aesthetic of the tattoos that I want. Yeah. And then I'm just going to kind of keep with that. Not that you have to be uniform about it, but like my tattoos are all over the map as far as like style. Some have color, some don't have color. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was a little more streamlined about it.
Yeah, I know. I see mine have no color. which is glad I made that choice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the color fades, so you have to get it touched up and stuff.
Yeah.
I need a touch up real bad on like all of my tattoos. Oh well. Anyway.
Well, you could go for the basic 3 icons of the Love, Death robots.
Yeah.
Heart, X, and Robot Head.
Mm.
All right, so the next one is Bad Traveling. This is 21 minutes long.
This one.
This is the first one.
It does not feel 21 minutes.
No, it's very good. So this is
it's so well paced.
Yes, yeah. So the whole show was created by Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, and David Fincher, the great director.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what his relationship to this is, because he didn't direct until this volume.
I remember in volume 2, you and I were talking about, is he still even involved? Because he seemed less part of the press that he did in volume 1.
And now this one, he's very involved.
Yeah, and he finally directed one, and I think he directed a really good one.
Excellent one.
And this is from Blur Studios.
Okay. Had they done one before? Yes.
I don't have handy, but I would say that Blur is probably, they use a lot of different people, but Blur, I might be wrong on this, but I think I'm right. Blur has the highest number of episodes. They use Blur a lot.
Okay.
And Blur has distinct styles, but they can do more than one kind of style.
Okay. So now this one, it says in the beginning, it's like years past on alien seas.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
On alien oceans.
This is written by Kevin Walker.
Or centuries past. Maybe.
Yes. And it's based on a story by Neil Asher. So this Neil Asher, this is his world. He has tons of stories.
Wow.
Like, remember in the beginning it says something about the type of shark?
The Jable shark.
The Jable shark.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big part of his world, Jable sharks.
Very cool.
So this is a little peek into an existing fantasy world.
It's so cool. It looks like it's in the 17 or 1800s.
Yes.
But there's just some
clearly
things
on another planet,
that are
though,
wrong. Right? Yes, because the creatures are not of this earth. And
they're not that freaked out by it.
No. Like, this is a risk.
Yeah.
Right? And then the ship is very different as well. Like, the front of the ship, it's like almost like a crescent shaped ship, and there's like 2 prongs in the front of the ship, and it's just different enough to make it cool, but it still looks old fashioned.
Yeah.
Like, it's not completely alien.
Yeah.
Also, I thought that a strange thing about the gun. Like,
yeah, it was like an old timey kind of
gun. It was
gun.
like an old timey gun, but it seemed way more powerful than an old timey gun would have been, which I guess is just they could do whatever they want. It's an alien world. And also it's like all locked up.
Yes.
Which is weird.
Yes. Well, you can feel,
I guess it's just responsible gun ownership looks weird to me.
You can feel at the edges of this that there is a bigger world.
Right.
Because I'm a dum-dum who doesn't know anything about nature. So I Googled, is a Jable shark a real thing?
Okay.
And it's not.
Well, I thought...
And in this fantasy world, they are the source of fuel, which he says.
Which he says at the end, which is cool because it says they're hunting Jable sharks. There's just a little blurb at the beginning, like, centuries pass on alien oceans. Ships crews would go out in search of the Jable shark, and many were lost. And if they were lost, they'd have a bad traveling, which was so ominous and cool.
You know, it's interesting because now that you're bringing this up, the Mason's Rats also is like future past, because it's like a farm in Scotland, but it's also the future. Yes.
Like the farm sci-fi.
Yeah.
Very cool. Everything is like he's fixing it's almost like Babe.
Yeah.
He's like fixing things. Well, I guess we'll get into that later. But I love the mixture of the past and the future.
Yes.
Like whenever they used to do that on Doctor Who, I thought it was so cool. Like when they had Victorian era, but it was like an alien.
Right. Well, they give a lot of credit to like Star Wars for being like a big change in sci-fi from like very clean futuristic aesthetic to like something can look shitty. Like the Millennium Falcon is a spaceship, but it looks shitty, like somebody like sewed it together from a bunch of other parts. It's like a hot rod junk ship,
and it's not the future. Star Wars is the past.
Right.
Star Wars is a long time ago.
Yes. And it's that sort of thing of like, it's just not now. It's just not here. Don't even think about here or now.
Don't worry about it.
And that's sort of what you get here. It's like, okay, there are seafaring people. Their economy, or I guess their fuel source, comes from these sharks, which They don't even show the sharks in this.
You see it, I think, for a second because they zoom. It's like a wide shot of the ship after the Thanapod is on it, and there's like it looks like seals or porpoises or something, like a pod jumping, and then like a shark comes out.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, but you don't see it really that clearly. You see them hanging.
Yes.
Underneath.
So the icons are an X, a skull that bleeds. It's color out. It's white color out, and then another X. Which X often means death in these icons, but I think it also can mean the voting.
The voting, yeah.
Democracy is another motif.
Democracy, that's right.
In this volume.
Yeah, it comes up a lot, that the failure of democracy.
Yeah.
Well, because ultimately he takes it into his hands. Torin, the captain.
The Torin.
Great voice
performance. Is he the captain? I thought the captain died and he just assumed the role.
Oh, I thought he was the captain.
No, I don't think so. Because I think the captain...
Because he knew where, like, that looked like captain quarters.
Right, no, for sure.
But he also knew where the gun was.
I think it ate the captain, and that's why
the key
had to be regurgitated.
Okay, I don't know why I thought why would logically someone else would have the key. I thought maybe his first mate had it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, there's clearly so much more here.
Yeah, there's a lot of story to be found here.
Torin's such an interesting character because he seems to, on one level, have virtue. He doesn't want to bring the monster to an inhabited island so it can kill and feed off a bunch of people. Yet, to get what he wants, he will fuck and murder everyone else.
Everybody on the ship.
Starting with the people of color.
Yeah.
Which is, it's too pointed to not be on purpose.
Yeah. So, okay. Real quick, let's just discuss what we're talking about here, which is a giant fucking horror crab.
Yeah. What do they call Thanapod?
A Thanapod.
Than means death, right? Like Thanos?
Thanos, yeah. So the Than prefix, so in Greek mythology, Thanatos, not Thanos, a Thanatos is death. So I imagine it's just
big death creature.
Yeah, and the pod is like a crab, lobster, that kind of thing. So Thanapod, it's a death crab.
Right.
It's massive and crazy, and it's also not unexpected because they're in like a big storm, and then they say like Thanapod.
If it has a name,
yeah, like they know what it is, and it's bad.
Right.
So it comes on to the deck. It's carnivorous. It eats the crap out of them.
Quick.
Just starts chowing down on people left and right.
Yeah.
And then goes into the hull.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh shit, now we have this thing on our... So there's that. Then, all right, so to your point... Oh yeah, so then he's like, I think it's only fair that we draw straws, basically, to see who's going to go down there and what. Like...
Deal with it.
Yeah. Like, the whole ship was trying to deal with it. Right. No one got close. So, like, why did you think one person was going to be able to do anything?
Or somebody has to speak to it.
I guess. So they start drawing straws. Oh, one of the things I noticed was the brothers. So there's a few, I would say it's predominantly white crew members on the ship. And then there's a crew member that almost looks like a Pacific Islander or something. It has like tattoos.
Yeah.
Sort of like I don't even know if I could call it like Maori tattoos, but it's like all over their faces tattooed. And they look almost like what you would consider like a Native American tattoo. Also, there's like the pipe, they're smoking a pipe, which looks very sort of
and the white people have English accents.
Yes. Except
some
sounds like a Russian.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The big guy sounds Russian.
Torin sounds more like an educated person.
Yes. And then there's two brothers who seem maybe Caribbean.
Yeah, they're people of color for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where they're.
There's two black men
planet,
on
so
board. They're on. I know who knows what any of this means,
yeah.
right? Like we just have our own perspective of it, and I guess the writer does too because they're from Earth. Something I noticed about the brothers: they draw the straws and they don't get the shortest, and then they say "Thanks, Serval." Yeah,
so they're their own kind of. But doesn't one brother draw it for the other?
Yes, they both. He takes two basically, and they're both okay. Yeah. And they say "Thanks, Serval." Thanks, Serval. And it's these things are like, oh, that's. It makes sense now that you've told me like there's a larger world because I'm like, what's that? Is that their religion? Is that everybody's religion? Like, what is that?
Right. Yeah. And
it's the best written. It's the most plot heavy one.
It could be a feature film.
I would love to see more of this world.
It's huge, and it's got a beautiful style. It's 3D. It's got a certain realism in terms of its
lamplit.
Texture. Yes.
Yeah.
It has a realism.
It feels very Fincher-esque in the lighting.
Yes. But not a parody of himself, which Well, he doesn't do it.
Well,
but
anyway,
other people do it.
So he makes everybody vote because he goes to talk to the crab.
Right.
The big guy, the big, huge, like Russian guy, takes the short straw and is like, okay, now I'm the leader. This is not going to go the way you wanted it to go.
Right.
Now you go down there. And so he goes, okay, fine, I go willingly. And the crab is like, I want passage, using the bodies of the dead bodies of the people.
Which also happens in Swarm. Using a human body as a way of communicating to a human.
Well, it also happens in Independence Day.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
And in Annihilation, too, I think they use the human bodies to talk. Or it's like they absorb it, and then the new monster they create comes out with the face of...
once.
It's very creepy.
I remember liking it,
strange. But anyway, this is the trope. This is a trope that like aliens or other creatures will use us to communicate with us because they don't have the facility to do it themselves. So it's it's weird because even though it's a crab, it seems to have like a tentacle it uses for communication because it does have something it wraps around the necks of these things. Yes. So it says Faden Island. I want passage to Faden Island. And so he's like immediately ready to bargain. He's like, cool, great. You have to do something for me. Number one, you can't kill me. I'm the only one who can steer the ship. Number two, I need you to regurgitate this guy because I need a key.
Yeah.
So he plays it real cool.
And
when
he
comes
also
out.
agrees to feed him. So he agrees that he's going to kill some of his people to keep him fed.
So that's right off the bat. So they let him out. He runs once he gets out.
First he's like tiptoeing.
He's just real cool. He's just
and they're like, wait a second. Where's he going?
And he's like a few steps away and he starts booking it to get to where there's this box in the captain's quarters where there's a gun and then he has the gun. So now they have to listen to him. I guess it's the only gun on the ship.
Yes.
So the big guy who originally picked the short straw, they get rid of him. Immediately they're like, you're the one who's going to be fed. That was the decision that was already made for it.
There's a hole in the deck of the ship
where they would have, it's like almost like a grate, and it would have been where they could open it so they could lower a jabal shark in and put it in the hull, like if they caught something, like fishing boats have that, so it broke through it, so now it's just a big hole
and they're throwing bodies into it so he could eat it.
So they throw him in. And I love when he goes like every last bite because he's the source of, well, I guess he's not, but he was the loudest voice for mutiny essentially. So they got rid of that problem. So then he's saying, okay, the crab wants to be taken to Faden Island, which is populated.
Right.
And we're going to have everybody vote because my plan is we could take him to these other islands that are a little further away. So it's at greater risk to us, but they're uninhabited. And then we just, how's this crab going to know?
Right.
But something that's interesting, and going back to your point about he kills the people of color first, they've been to Faden Island because they mention... Like the people of Faden Island, in like our experiences, they would no sooner spit at you than look at you. So to the people of color on the boat, the people of Faden Island are pieces of shit who like are racist.
Oh, okay,
or whatever the equivalent is in their universe. And to Tauren, they're innocent men, women, and children who need to be protected from this crab.
Interesting.
So the people of color were like, yeah, fuck them. Who cares? Drop them off.
Right.
And Tauren is like, oh, no. We must protect and preserve them.
Interesting.
So to your point, I think there is something there, perhaps. So anyway, so he has everybody vote. He comes out. He says, unbeknownst to all of you, I marked all the ballots, so I know exactly who voted for Faden Island and who voted for the uninhabited islands. And then he has the one brother move over. Now, I didn't actually read this as a racially motivated thing. I read this as, these are two people who are always going to be aligned. Let me pick them off first.
But think of this. We reveal it. He says... I think he says, like, put an O if you want to go all the way to the safer island and not to Thaden.
Yeah.
Or put an X if you want to
go to Faden.
Yeah, and to give the monster what it wants. He reveals later on that everybody put an X.
Everybody put an X.
Which means you know if you put an X, right?
Right.
So at first, one of the people of color is in front of this white kid. And he goes, can you move aside? And the white kid and everyone else kind of thinks, oh, he's going to shoot the white kid.
Right.
But then he shoots.
He's also like the young.
Right.
It's also that trope of like the young man on board. Like this is his first
Right.
seafaring.
Yeah, he's cabin boy.
Yeah. He's like Jim in Treasure Island.
And he shoots, but he really just wants him to move so
he gets a shot of both brothers.
Both of them
clean.
together.
Yeah. Also, the other brother is injured. I'm not really sure.
Oh yeah, something.
He
like
has
that.
this like a crotch.
Because at one point the big dude's like, let's just throw. He's already
he's half
person.
dead. Let's
throw
get rid
him
of
in.
him. Yeah.
And he's like, and then the brother defends him.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, here's the racism that I see.
Okay.
The white kid knows that he voted the way that Torrin doesn't want him to.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks he's gonna get shot, but then he shoots the two people of color. Mm-hmm. The white kid must think, oh, he saved me because I'm white, because he knows. Everybody knows what they voted, right?
See, I didn't think of that. I think he thought, oh, Torrin didn't realize. Like, he must have made a mistake. Like, he got it wrong.
I don't know.
I thought he thought, like, oh, I got lucky. Like, he must have thought I put an O when I didn't.
Okay. See, I saw...
Because then afterwards he says, now we are finally united in purpose and spirit and goal.
Meanwhile, they all know that they all voted.
But I feel like they all feel like they got lucky in that moment.
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, this is interpretation, but I feel like the white passengers, look, everybody voted the same way, right? Mm-hmm. So who does he make the example of? Oh, they're the bad guys, the two people of color.
Well, the other
wouldn't you
thing
feel
was,
like, okay, we scapegoated those guys?
He definitely scapegoated, because you could tell they were low on the totem pole in that hierarchy anyway, because they were already suggesting like nobody spoke up for them. When that guy was like, let's get rid of this brother.
Yeah.
Only his own brother spoke up for him. No one defended them.
Yeah.
I think is a strategy, not defending any racial motivations that he may have had or not had, but I think as a strategy, it's smart because you know that the rest of the ship doesn't care about these people.
Yes.
So it's not going to piss anybody off.
Yeah.
Which is not nice.
No, it's not very nice.
It's not a nice thing at all.
At this point, Torrin goes down to where the monster is, and he sees that there are all these little baby ones.
Right.
And
he says double the meal, double the time in between, and then he goes, one would hope.
Yeah.
So
you love Torrin.
I
mean, he's
love
horrible,
Torrin.
but you love him.
He's really bad, but he's...
Yeah.
At the same time, there is this truly... we've been talking a lot about Obi-Wan, right? And like... the Inquisitors kind of being like going from this animated series and the video games, neither of which I have experience of. I just know by reputation that they're supposed to be so terrifying and like, at the very least, like badass. And like this group of Inquisitors on Obi-Wan, they're like clowns. They're like, everyone's trying to be teacher's pet. They're like, it's almost like they're all pretending to go hard.
Right.
But Torrin is in his own way of such a badass.
Right.
He's going on confidence alone. It's all he has. It's like the only tool he has, really.
But now that you've speculated that the island is full of
racist
colonists, it makes me feel it makes me feel like he's less
cool.
Yeah, well, I kind of
the
felt
way
like
he behaves is cool. I'm not saying his motivations are necessarily cool, but he's just like...
Oh, no, I know. I came into this thinking, though, okay, he's a horrible person, but at least he wants to save more people in general. But now you've made me think that perhaps even that's not as virtuous.
I'm never confident of his plan, right? Like I feel like it's either shifting or he's just not. I mean, he's not forthcoming about it to begin with.
Yeah.
So now they're on track, presumably, to bypass Faden Island.
And there's a couple of attempts of a coup to try to kill Tor.
Oh, right. Prior to anything happening, you just see he's up in the like crow's nest.
Yeah.
I don't know, writing maps or whatever he's doing. And then like some guy, the old guy's like climbing up the rigging with a knife to just stab him to death.
Made me do it.
And then he catches him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't want to. They made me. And then in that moment, the crab like pushes a corpse up through the hole and is like, Torrin! And the whole ship is shitting themselves because this is the first time they've heard the thing talk.
And every time you see the human it's using to speak, it's just more decrepit and horrifying.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes down and that's when he sees the babies.
Yes.
So then that night, you can see the lights, I guess, on Faden Island.
Yes.
And they're like, minute by minute, Faden Island's getting closer. And he goes, I know, but like this nightmare is almost over. Like, just stick with me.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and he's like, wake me up at the toll of the hour, and closes the door. He had to know, obviously, that they were out to get him.
Yeah.
Because he sets up a dummy in the bed. The whole crew comes in and tries to stab him to death.
Right.
And then he sneaks up on them and shoots them and gets into a fight.
Yeah,
like, kills the whole crew.
Yeah. Except for the old dude.
With the exception of the old dude who's hiding in a trunk.
Yeah.
And then
he was like, I didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. So the old guy helps him throw all the bodies in.
Right.
And then he pushes him in. He's like, in the spirit of honesty, I have to tell you. He's like, I didn't actually mark the ballots. I didn't have to. And he's like, because all of you made an X, and just pushes him in. And the guy's like horrified.
Yeah.
So he kills the entire crew.
Yeah.
So now you see he's approaching this uninhabited island.
Yeah.
Looks like. He puts it on like autopilot.
Yeah.
Whatever the equivalent is. And he goes down and he starts talking about the Jabal shark.
Yeah.
And how they're not good eating. Their skin is too hard to make a garment out of, but they're great for oil.
Right.
And then he starts cutting open barrels of oil.
And you see like this black oil
like, thick
on the floor.
crude going across the floor. And he takes out the gun, and the crab is like, the shell protects. And he's like, it's not for you. He shoots that lamp and then beats it. Like he just takes
That's
off.
an incredible shot, because it's one shot and it's in slow motion, and Torrin is running up the stairs, and there's fire behind him, but also the monster is
coming and busting through the ship, and it's awful and scary and horrible.
It gets caught in the stairs, and then Torrin goes, but then when Torrin's on the deck, the monster comes out of the hole.
Yeah.
And then it's like, fuck.
Yeah, and he jumps right off the ship.
Yeah, and he goes, and he ends up on a like a little lifeboat.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he lived. I really didn't think
behind
anyone was
him.
going to live.
And me too, for sure. I thought everyone was going
Because
to die.
can't the monster just jump into the water and eat him at that point?
Right, but I think it's being injured very horribly by the explosions and the.
I guess.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to Faden Island.
Yeah.
Like it's a lit up island behind
yeah.
him. So he's gonna, I guess, make his way there. It's great.
It is.
It's
and
so tense.
And I tend to not like seafaring stories, like Master and Commander.
I love seafaring stuff.
Like any
I love
like
Moby Dick. I love all that stuff.
No, see, if it's like a Doctor Who episode that's about pirates, I'm like, fuck. But like, I really, really like this. I love the character designs. I mean, it's realistic in terms of its texture, but the character designs are like, everyone's kind of ugly. It's
a lot of hollowed out faces.
It's got the dark moodiness of a Fincher film.
The score is great.
Yeah.
The score is very tense. There's a lot of violin work happening.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's a good one.
Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. I loved it.
I feel like every season has one long one that's like the jewel in its crown.
Yeah.
Like Aquila Rift in season 1, Pop Squad in season 2.
They're very story heavy. And
yeah. It's the one that they used in trailers a lot. It's not necessarily the best one.
Right, but it's something, it's just so striking. I loved it. I also wanted to talk about the voice actor, Troy Baker.
Yeah.
I don't play this game, but I know you played Last of Us.
Yeah.
And he's Joel.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
As Torrin? Interesting. It's such a different...
Now, he doesn't have an accent, right?
Like Joel is like, I'm the most American guy in the world.
Yeah, that's Joel.
That's really interesting. Yeah, they do use a lot of, like, besides the stars that they're increasingly using, they do use a lot of great voice people.
Voice actors, people from video games, but, like, esteemed people from video games that are, like, very, very good. He's great. Joel. Very cool.
Yeah. All right, so the third one is The Very Pulse of the Machine. This is by Polygon Pictures Incorporated. This is their first episode.
Okay.
Of Love, Death, and Robots, but they did Clone Wars, Star Wars.
Now, I would have, if you'd put like a gun to my head, said these are the Fish Night people, because it reminds me so much of Fish Night.
Well, it's got the colors of Fish Night, and it's 2D the way Fish Night was.
Right.
Yeah. This, I sent you, there was like a little making of thing for this, and they were saying that they were really inspired by Mobius.
Mobius, the artist Mobius.
Right. Who was one of the big voices in heavy metal,
right?
Which is the origins of Love, Death, and Robots. Was it originally began as a heavy metal, an American version of heavy metal?
Okay.
And then at some point they were like, let's just do our own thing and not use the heavy metal property.
Every time we record, you're like, and this was supposed to be like heavy metal, and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know that. And you're like, you do, because I tell you every single time.
Yes.
This time I remembered.
Yes. But it's cool. It is a cool nod to like its origins to have it. And I absolutely love the style of this. I love the look of it.
It's gorgeous. It really brightly colored.
Yeah, it's these thin black lines with the pristine black lines, very drawn, very illustrated.
Very like a comic book art.
Yes. And but then like beautiful, like it feels like watercolor, but it's digital, obviously. So it's got that old and new together, which is kind of like the whole series, right? Old and new together. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It takes place on Io, the moon of one of the moons of Jupiter.
Right, which is a sulfur core.
Yes.
And so everything yellow, it's like very yellow on the planet.
Yes.
It's all sulfuric. And it must smell bad, probably. But it
smells like farts.
It smells like farts, yeah, sulfur.
The whole thing.
The whole planet smells like farts. So she and her partner Kivelson, she's Kivelson.
Yeah, the main woman is Martha Kivelson,
played by Mackenzie Davis,
and her partner is Burton.
Halle Burton.
Two astronauts.
You didn't get my Halliburton joke?
Oh, I did not even get.
I don't know what Burton's first name is.
You want me to cut that out? Oh, okay.
Well, it's current. It's fine.
By the way, this is directed by Emily Dean. A lot of female
directors,
of this series.
Yeah, directors, producers, writers. Very cool.
It's based on a story by Michael Shanwick.
You see Michael Shannon. I was like, really?
I wrote this story about a couple of lady astronauts. I don't know. You can read it if you like it. And it's adapted by Philip Gillette. Philip Gillette writes a lot of the series.
Really?
But he's like, not that I have anything against him, but he does a lot of adaptations of short stories. He's like your go-to guy. Like, you give him a short story and he gives you a script version of it.
Wow, okay. I think this is a successul
This is
adaptation, I would say.
This is the philosophical one, right? There's always a philosophical one.
This is the philosophical one.
Yeah. The icons in the beginning are a cog, which
I guess the machine.
An early indicator of Io is a machine.
Yeah.
Which I think I get. And then a silhouette of a one-eyed skull, and then a book.
Okay.
Because very early on when they crash,
the book is called Poems of Old Earth.
Yes.
Interesting.
When they crash, they're on a they're in a rover,
right?
Driving, and they're like, that was a good mission. They're like done, but then there's an eruption,
and
their rover fucking flips up.
I was telling Bill when we were watching it for a second time, I was like, does this thing not break? Because Burton's telling her, we gotta go. We're outside of the range of the landing module. Right. And she's like, oh, no, I just want to let's just take a few pictures, do whatever. Yeah. And then it starts rumbling and she's like, oh, it might be an eruption the entire time. Yeah. And she's getting all kinds of alarm bells and all kinds of shit inside the rover. She is flooring it the whole time. At no point is she slowing down, breaking anything. It's probably why this poor woman, Burton, died.
Do you love that? I'm a person who I have poetry book wherever I go. Like in my bag for work, I have poetry. There's always time for poetry. I love that Burton
agreed.
She's like, we're taking a rover out on Io. We might have some downtime.
I am on another planet. Yeah. I need to read some poetry about the cosmos. Yeah. Why not?
I mean, I have nothing but respect for...
If I were going to the Grand Canyon, I'd want to bring a book of poetry with me to appreciate, to help heighten my appreciation. Yeah. She's right there.
Yeah.
It seems, I don't know about Wallace Stevens because I just don't know that poet, but it seems like it's all romantic poetry. So Coleridge and Wordsworth, and they're the romantics. And
they're Longfellow's in there.
They're always writing about nature and the beauty of nature.
Wadsworth.
And being one with the planet.
Wordsworth. William Wordsworth.
Mm-hmm. Samuel Taylor Coleridge.
Yeah. I wrote down a lot of the poetry because I tried to look up the names at least of every poem and see how it might relate to the story.
Well, Burton's voice, the voice actor for Burton is her voice is delicious. I love her readings of the poetry. And she's Io. So her partner Burton dies in the crash, and I don't know if it was just to bring her body back or to use her oxygen. She needs her oxygen tank. She couldn't take the tank off.
Oh, maybe she does want to.
I thought it was. I thought her motivation was to bring the body home.
Right. Okay, but all in her death or in her crash, her face mask was cracked and she lost an eye.
Which
is important because it's like the eye of Jupiter, and eyes become a whole theme in this whole series.
Yeah, so she loses an eye, and she's blue. Her face is blue.
Yeah.
And so Kivelson puts like sand over her face so she doesn't have to look at it. But also it looks like a gold visor like astronauts have. And she creates like a sled out of the door of the rover and ties it to her back. And she's hooked into Burton's oxygen because her oxygen was damaged. And she's like going towards the landing rover.
Right.
It's 41 kilometers away. Right. Which is 25 miles.
Right. And they don't have communication.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when she starts walking, Kivelson realizes that her leg is broken. So
I thought it was her arm.
Oh, I thought she
because she keeps like grabbing her shoulder and being like,
I thought I saw her limp. But either way, she's injured. So through her suit, she can administer morphine.
Yeah.
And the suit's like, you're going to get real fucked up if you do this.
Yeah, you're going to have hallucinations.
Like it says, like, you'll see hallucinations. And she's like, fuck it, I might as well die high.
Yeah, so she gives herself morphine and then starts going.
The party starts.
Yeah, and then the landscape starts getting real wacky.
Right, it gets super Mobius.
She's is like
hearing
known
the
for
voice
his, like,
of
skies and stuff, and like a lot of like spiral looking thing. And now the whole sky is like trippy dippy. Right. The landscape is moving and shifting.
She's hearing Burton's voice, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up, you're dead."
Like, you're dead. I know you're dead. And like, I love when she goes back and like kind of clears off her face mask, and she just goes, just checking.
Yeah,
like okay,
like, I don't have time to dive into
whatever psychological unresolved bullshit this is that you're talking to me now.
Right.
And then she's like, not Burton trying to communicate with you.
Yeah.
And I love, so ultimately it's Io, the planet Io is communicating with her through Burton. And she's like, memory is data, radio is medium. Like I'm using her brain and her body to communicate with you. And she keeps saying like sulfur ions, dioxide. And she's like, what does this sound like? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess astronauts know what that is because I don't.
Yeah.
She's like, it sounds like a machine. I'm like, I would never know. I'd be like, chemistry class? Like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm on this planet to begin with. I told you I was never leaving Earth. All the way back in the first one.
It starts spouting poetry.
Yeah. It's like, it's like a lot about the self, like self.
Yeah. I have it all.
Oh, go for it.
So this is the first one you hear. This is from a poem called The Milky Way by Barbara Jester Ebenson. Oh, sleep, it is a gentle thing beloved from the pole. No, sorry, that's Coleridge. Who spilled these stars across the sky? Like sparkling dust, like clouds of light. They pour their milky shine into the deep black bowl. That's from The Milky Way by Barbara Jester Ebenson.
It's gorgeous poetry.
Yeah. I was the world in which I walked. But what's also interesting is like, if you obviously this is all trippy, right? But if you do want to find a realistic read on it, she's using Io, the moon, is using the processor of Burton's brain, and Burton is someone who likes poetry.
Right? So she's using poetry as a reference to like communicate.
Yeah, it's trying to figure out how to communicate what it's saying with what's available in her brain, Burton's
which is
brain.
Poetry. Yeah.
But also she's fucking high. So
who knows?
Who knows
right?
what the fuck is happening?
Well, until the end.
Yeah.
And the landscape. Like there's these big rock formations and they're becoming women. And then often it changes from I'm sorry. It often like changes from a color palette that's like very blue, yellow and orange to like blue and purple. And it's almost like the hallucinations are like blue and the reality is like very stark and yellow and bright. And also that's something that I found very eerie about it. And she'd be like tripping out, like listening to this poetry and like blissing out, looking at all these like shapes changing. And then you'd hear her voice being like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then she'd wake up and she'd have been like making zigzags in the road.
And it's like light again.
Yeah. Or like she'd be off course. Like she wasn't where she was supposed to be. She keeps losing time. Yeah. See, like I was telling Bill yesterday when we were rewatching, I was like, unless she needs the oxygen to continue, like, and she can't take the oxygen pack off, which I think she probably would be able to, my assumption. her biggest mistake is trying to preserve Burton's body because she's adding tons of weight, and she's using up more of her oxygen because she's breathing heavy because she's pulling her.
Maybe she can't take it off.
Maybe she can't. Maybe it was just a survival thing.
Yeah.
So she's just eating up all this oxygen because she's pulling this woman's body through the desert.
And she sees the landscape is starting to look like female faces and female forms, but she comes upon a giant. And it is a giant Burton. It's an astronaut that has the eye thing, but then the eye fills back in.
Yeah,
and you're hearing all this poetry. It's all just a vibe, baby.
Io. So she runs a visual on her helmet to look at the electromagnetic sphere on the planet, and she sees all these like blue lines, and it's really beautiful. Yeah. And then one blue line is like running. It's like a blue line of light, and it's going right into Burton's eye hole. And she's like, this is how I get the information. Like, this is a cable, basically, like a jack right into her head.
See, I saw it as coming out of her eye.
Oh, out of her eye. Oh, interesting.
Like, Io is using Burton's body to communicate, and it's coming out the eye.
Okay. I felt like it was just like, I found this entry point. Now I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to get some data. But either way,
but there's also, like, at one point towards the end, like, Kivelson looks up and like right above her is the eye of Jupiter. Mm-hmm. So like you've got that giant eye watching.
Yeah. So it becomes clear that she's not going to make it to where she needs to go. Her oxygen is critical.
At one point she's like, I got to speed up. And then she goes to give herself adrenaline.
Amphetamine.
Yeah. Yes. And the suit is like, mixing these two drugs will lead to psychosis.
Yeah. She's like, fuck it. We got to go. We got to move.
Yeah.
So she gives herself an amphetamine, and then it doesn't really help at all. It just makes her crazier.
Yeah.
And then she collapses, and Burton's body gets up and carries her.
Yeah.
But then when she wakes up, she's like on a cliff's edge, overlooking like a black pool.
Right.
Which mimics the poetry, parallels the poetry that was being read. Right. But it's sizzling. It is
right. It looks like a sea, but
hot.
It will completely destroy her if she goes into it.
And she says, Io, did Burton go in there? And she's like, yes. And Burton's like, and then Io's like, throw yourself in, join with me. She's like, maybe, she's like, your body will be destroyed, but your consciousness might be preserved. She's like, could be death, it could be life.
Yeah.
She doesn't say like you're kind of out of options at this point because like she's done. She's got like 20 seconds left of oxygen. Like she's gonna die either way.
Like you said, at some point, it's like it keeps saying all these things. What does it sound like? I do this, I do that. What does it sound like? And eventually, it's like, it sounds like you're a machine.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I am a machine. And she goes, well, if you're a machine, what's your function? And she says, to know you. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Right. What is that?
Because it's not Earth. It's a moon of Jupiter.
Right. So how many
why does it care about us at all?
Does it run into?
Right.
Unless
is that God? Is God a moon of Jupiter?
Right.
There's something about Io that must be weird because in 2001: A Space Odyssey, Io is a part of that, or maybe it's the second one. Io, I think they go to Io, or maybe the first monolith is on Io. Io is somehow related to the 2001 stories.
So what I know, the only thing I know is how it relates to Greek mythology, and so even though Jupiter's the Roman name, Jupiter's Zeus, and Io is the Greek name, but for this character.
Yeah. But
they made astronomers made all of Jupiter's moons. I'm gonna say for the sake of this, it's just lovers of Jupiter. Okay. But really, it's like people that Jupiter raped.
I see.
And so, like Ganymede is one of the moons. Callisto is one of the moons. Ganymede was like Jupiter's cupbearer, but Io is like a maiden in Greek mythology who is raped, for lack of a better word, by Jupiter. And I think has children by him. But anyway, so that's the only thing I really know of the moon, the names. Although Io of the moon seems to be the one that they're like scientists are most interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the fascination is with this moon in particular.
Yeah. If we were smart science people, we'd know.
We don't know. We're just silly.
Before Martha jumps in, she says, maybe I'll live forever, or maybe this is one last dream before dying. She looks up at the eye. She jumps in. Now, what we know from the reality of the situation is she will immediately disintegrate and burn.
Right.
But what we see is she looks like she like jumps into like the space and is like
Outer
floating
space,
around, and
basically,
it's
yeah.
like
She
super
hits,
trippy.
it's black, and then it's just stars, and she's floating.
Yeah.
Like she's sinking, but it's very peaceful.
And then she starts to like become luminous.
Yes.
And
It's
then-
all disintegrating and like light is happening.
Yeah.
Like her mask gets blown off
Yeah.
and like then, but she doesn't die immediately, which of course she would have.
And it zooms in on her eye.
Yeah. Her eye becomes light.
Yeah.
And like
And
then
then
an
the rest of her-
explosion.
yeah.
Like an
Yeah.
electromagnetic explosion.
The whole moon is like luminous.
Yeah. It's like waves of light go over it.
Yeah, because one of the last shots is like a very far back, and it's like you see Jupiter, which is gigantic, and like
The
moon is like right
golden,
there. Yeah.
And then the landing
gold, another
module
gold.
comes closer. It's like passing in the orbit. And then you hear her voice.
Yeah.
Like, this is Martha Kivelson. So she survives. Because now we're on we're not experiencing what she's experiencing anymore. We're
Right.
hearing what the landing craft is hearing.
Interesting.
We're hearing in communication from
Yeah.
the planet.
I don't know. You know,
Her consciousness melded with the planets. It's interesting.
right. We can't.
My question is why?
Yeah. We can't do it justice because it's beautiful to experience. It's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous, and it's just.
It reminded me actually a lot of I don't know if you ever watched it. I think we talked about it, but on Netflix, Midnight Gospel.
No. Oh, wait. Yes. No, I did. That was the
Okay.
one based on the podcast.
Yeah, it was based on a podcast.
He has an episode where he talks to his mother who's
It
dying.
reminded me of that one.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, did I sob like a baby at that? I actually didn't like the series, but I loved that episode.
right.
That
Yeah,
episode like
was definitely a high
destroyed
point.
me. And it reminded me of that. It's sort of like this thing among science people and atheists of consciousness being preserved
Yeah.
in some way.
That series came out at the very beginning of the pandemic, and just nobody needed that.
Mm-hmm.
It was. Just,
Oh no! It was extremely distracting. It was just like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, ugh.
Weren't you pregnant?
I was pregnant. Yeah. And so I was sobbing like a baby because like so it's we're going to talk about a different series, but like he has a conversation with his dead mother basically. But it's a recording of a conversation he actually had with his mother
over it.
And they animated over it. And this was a couple weeks before she died.
Yeah.
And so this whole thing is like, this is a preservation of her voice. And so now you get to see it acted out.
Yeah.
Years later. And then he recorded a new part right at the end of it, which wasn't in the original conversation. And so it sort of reflects his experience of being like a person whose mom died. And it's just like, basically her last words on the podcast were like, that love, it just keeps on existing.
Yeah.
And she's not a religious person. Like she wasn't in her life from what I read about her. So it was just like, it just keeps going. And then that conversation ends, but he added a new part and he just said, I believe you. And I was like, oh, he's been living for like years without his mom. And he's just like, no, I still feel it. Like, oh, so sad.
Wow. Yeah. It just makes you feel things.
She goes into the void. Like it's a void, right? Like this black pool.
I mean,
and at the end she gets sucked into a black hole. That's why like it reminded me of the two. So
I mean, it's
just
poetry.
vibey.
It's filled with poetry. It is poetry.
Yes. Yeah, you can't pin it down necessarily. You can tell the actions of what's happening to Kivelson.
Yeah.
You know, she has a crash. She tries to save herself. She can't.
Right.
She ultimately dies, and she kills herself. I guess I don't know. Although the director put it as sacrifices herself. So in that little animated like back story, yeah, I know. She says sacrifices herself, which I think is interesting. And she said she really wanted to be specific about the way she fell. So she recorded herself going onto the bed. And it's sort of Christ-like. Like she puts her arms out and her head up to the sky and then sort of falls off the cliff.
If you're going to jump into
swan
acid,
dives. Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Go out big. Even though if no one can see you. Yeah. You know.
Maybe I'll live forever. Maybe this is one last dream before dying. One last dream,
yeah.
It's super beautiful. I always love the philosophical
Me too.
ones.
Zima Blue, Drowned Giant, this one. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, when I took Anthony to the best of thing at Alamo, and he had never seen the show, and I was like, these are good, but they're giving you all like the actiony ones. I was like, there's a whole element of the show that this isn't representing, which is like, except for maybe Jibaro, but that's not philosophical. It's just abstract. I love the philosophical ones.
Me too.
I love the ones that are just like a feeling.
Yeah, they stay with you.
Yeah.
This was beautiful. I loved it.
I love it. It's absolutely beautiful.
Coming from thinking this was the Fish Night people, I was like, wow, they really upped their game. Like, this is amazing. Like, they got it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I really, really loved it. Let me see if I had any notes left on it.
I believe the Fish Night people did Ice, though.
No, it was Zima Blue. Zima Blue people did Ice.
That's right. You could tell by the...
Yeah.
The next one is Night of the Many Dead.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say about this was I don't get the feeling that Io is malignant at all.
No, neither do I.
It's like a Keeler rift in that way where it's like it is causing her to die, but I don't think it's malignant.
I don't even see it. I don't see it malignant at all. Like, to me, it always was like she was going to die. She crashed and she's stranded. But before she died, it communed with her.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel like it was killing her.
No. But although it's like, just throw yourself in.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I guess it sort of shifts your perspective on like, is death a good or bad thing? It's neutral. Yeah. And I think Io is, actually, I don't think Io is neutral. I think Io is positive.
Yeah. I think it's also like a changing of form.
Yeah. It's just more of, this is going to be, you're just going to change. It's not going to end.
I love cosmic, I love when you take, you know, the stars and the planets and you relate that to philosophical ideas and deep thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it always makes you feel small.
Yeah. So the next one is Night of the Many Dead. As its title would suggest, it's very much like Night of the Living Dead.
It starts just like the Living Dead, except it's not brother and sister, I hope.
It's two people fucking.
It's just a lightning strike.
Yeah.
Everything turned green, and then the zombies came.
He dares it to happen because
he's like humping the statue.
Yeah, and then it gets...
Then it falls over into the church. Then the thing...
It's ridiculous.
It's so silly.
It's
short.
Very
it's only funny,
7
though.
minutes.
It's very, very funny.
No, it's very good. And in the theater, it got a good reaction. It's by...
The amount of time this thing probably took to make.
Well, yeah. It's made by a studio called Buck.
Okay.
It's directed by Robert Beesey and Andy Lyon. And they wrote the screenplay. They also wrote the screenplay, but it was based on a story by Tim Miller and Jeff Fowler, who's the director of the Sonic movies.
So weird. And Tim Miller's the Deadpool guy, of course.
So what this does... But
he didn't direct it, right?
No.
Okay.
So what?
Right. He directed Swarm.
Yeah. It's called Night of the Many Dead, but there's two ways you could read it. You could read it as somehow you're watching a mini planet, or you could read it as we're showing you the story from an incredible distance.
Yeah.
Which makes the whole thing just a funny curiosity.
Yeah, you're not attached to anything.
You're seeing horrible things, but it's like, it's funny.
But it's funny, yeah.
And you hear high pitched speaking. I couldn't understand it. It wasn't until I put on subtitles that I could actually see that there was dialogue.
Yeah, you can understand what the president says.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not in my country.
Not in my country. I love that. I laughed so hard. But I with the couple in the beginning. It's like yeah. It's just so tiny.
And then it cuts to them fucking.
Everyone's like all over. It's like cut.
Yeah.
They're just fucking all over the cemetery. It's so
fantastic.
Funny. But the cars drive really fast. And just chaotic.
Well, it's digital, but it mimics how miniature looks to us, which is it has a very, very shallow depth of field. Because when you photograph miniatures, it's very hard to. You have a very shallow depth of field because we have these big cameras. Like if you look at photography of insects. So as a way of selling the idea of this as a miniature, you have usually just one of the planes in focus and the others way out of focus.
Okay.
It reminded me actually a lot of the dollhouse stuff you see in Hereditary.
Okay. I've never seen the movie, but that featured heavily in the trailers.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's a language that we know.
Everything feels sped up.
Yeah. It's
the hordes are just overtaking. It just looks like a colony of ants running wild.
It's just scene after scene in this from very far
away.
Only
one group gets away. Well, I mean, I don't imagine they got away because the whole planet goes boom. But the mom pulling 2 kids out of the house, they get away. They drive away. And they drive away. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
You see, they attack a temple of Shaolin monks, but the monks are fighting them.
Those guys, I think, might live.
They might have lived.
Yeah,
they're just hordes running through.
Yeah.
It's there's no way we're going to beat this.
It's interesting when you think about the zombie genre and how overdone it is.
Yeah, I was surprised to see zombies in 2022. I was like, I thought this was kind of old hat.
But the way that it approaches it, I think, is really interesting.
It's very funny.
It reminded me a little bit of Ice Age. Yeah, because in
the
that you would
minis.
see you'd see the evolution of the little mini world, and it was sped up. Remember, like
the Pope-mobile is shooting.
Yes,
The Pope-mobile is shooting at the zombies at one point.
yeah. At one point,
There's
things
like a
get
trolley
post-apocalyptic.
comes. Oh yeah, they zoom in on that because then you see like there's 3 vehicles like racing through the streets, like fire, like flame throwing.
It's a lot like the
machine gunning
If you ever see
them.
Land of the Dead, it's a lot like that. Like they've got
like
the
the
big
Zack
armored,
Snyder zombie movies. I could see
yeah.
that. Yeah, armored tanks and trucks and stuff. Yeah.
It's pretty.
The trolley made me laugh so hard though because it looks like it's a trolley from like Mr. Rogers, but they're like blowing away zombies.
At one point, there's a bunch of zombies trying to cross the Mexican border, like, and there was the wall, and then they end up crashing the wall. And I guess these people that call themselves Minutemen.
Oh, who like hang out in trailers near the wall.
they're
Yeah, there's
just-
like that's
They're just sick people with
nothing to do.
guns and that like to kill people, so they hang around by the wall to try to murder people. And you see them trying to defend from the zombies, and then the wall
they blow
falls and
up.
their RV explodes, and it's pretty hilarious.
Well, at one point, like a tanker near a nuclear power plant blows up.
And that's when you start to get the big giant green monsters.
So now you get green giant zombies.
Yeah, and then eventually the world power starts shooting nuclear weapons at the sky, and
Like you just see the whole planet, like there's rockets going across the whole planet to blow everything up.
and we blow
then
ourselves up.
We just zoom out until you see the galaxy, and then just a little fart sound.
Yeah, and it's one little dot.
It's like
Earth is one little dot in the
that's
Milky
it.
Way, and it's like.
Yeah.
But I find that so soothing.
It's like no one even cares.
Yeah.
Who cares?
We're just one little.
You gotta
one
see it on
little
your shirt.
dot.
Who gives?
Yeah, yeah. What were the icons for this? Oh, a skull with a bite taken out of it,
Okay.
an X, and a mushroom cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say about it. But
No, me neither.
It's super
fun.
short. It's super funny. It is very.
It is very funny.
Yeah.
I actually think the next one is the funniest one.
Kill Team Kill.
I love this one.
Directed by Jennifer U. Nelson.
What a
Very different from Pop Squad, right?
So different than Pop Squad, but so much fun. I really like.
It felt
this.
so much to me like the
Sucker of Souls.
the vampire one.
Yes.
Because it's like these military guys. But
It's like it's a 2D animation style. It does have some. I guess it's not anime, but it has some hallmarks of anime style.
yeah.
And it's. Yeah, well, we watched that little behind the scenes thing. So Jennifer Hugh Nelson seems like this soft spoken woman.
Yeah.
Very long hair, glasses. Like she just looks like she owns a. Like she looks like she's one of the owners of the bookstore
She's
in
directed
Portlandia.
some of the Kung Fu
Like,
Panda movies.
She's. Well, we were joking about this the last time because we're like, she directed Kung Fu Panda 2 and then made Pop Squad where they're shooting babies in the face.
Murdering babies.
And this is just like. This seems so testosterone-y.
Well,
like,
it feels like
it opens with a dick. Like
it feels a lot like Predator, the original
yes.
Predator.
Yeah, she talks about that being a big influence.
Right, because if you ever watch the original Predator, it's ridiculous. Like they're soldiers, but like one of them's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like
One of Carl Weathers is like fully write it out.
You've got Jesse the Body Ventura.
No,
it's
yeah.
just ridiculous.
Yeah. Everyone's crazy muscled.
This is like a parody of that 80s machismo Reagan era kind of shit. And this is another one that takes place during the War on Terror. I'm not sure where it's supposed to be because the character Joel McHale plays.
Yes.
He says that we created it, and you should see the way this bear kills these Afghanis or whatever.
He treated it like
and
it was an
and then it
Afghani
turned
buffet.
unpatriotic.
Yeah, it started acting unpatriotic.
Right.
His character, I thought this was the funniest one because of his character.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
When he opens up the room with all the
This is where I come
weapons,
to jerk
this
off.
is where I come to jerk off.
It's
Hilarious.
just deadpan.
So this is by a studio
cracking
called
up.
Mouse Incorporated.
Wonderful.
I said it's directed by Jennifer Hugh Nelson. It is written by Phil Gillette again, based on a story by Justin Coates. Its icons are 3 skulls, 2 of them outfitted with sunglasses, and then 1 has headphones.
Yeah.
You got Joel McHale, you have Seth Green.
Yeah.
There are these guys on a mission. And I guess they were split up from another like team.
Unit, yeah.
Yeah, and they climb up the mountain, and then they see the other team's just completely decimated.
Completely unfazed by this.
Yeah.
The hugest guy there like pulls like this giant tusk or
He's
nail
like, "Look,
or
it's my
whatever.
dick."
He's like bigger than my dick.
Which is hilarious.
You're like,
I love the guy who's like, all right, we've gone crazy. Time to kill each other.
I know. Macy. I love him. He loved the robot, the little robot.
Yeah. And the
So
leader's
cute.
like, you don't have my permission to die yet.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, one of them's like, do we have your permission to die yet?
He's like, we're getting
He's
there.
like, yeah.
I love it. I love Joel McHale. So they get there. They immediately get attacked by this gigantic robot grizzly bear.
It's like a cyborg.
It's cyborg. Yeah, I shouldn't say it's not a robot, but it looks like a grizzly bear with It's like the character cyborg almost exactly. It's got the eye. It's got the like claws. All this stuff.
It's got fur and stuff.
It's got fur,
and it's a weapon made by the American military.
That's right, and it destroyed this unit, and now they're shooting.
It's malfunctioning.
It's malfunctioning. It's gone rogue,
and there's no way to stop it.
Yeah,
because it's like an incredible machine, and then on top of it, a bunch of what do they call it? Like the gel that
ballistic gel under its fur, so you can't take it out. It's like a grenade won't even hurt it.
I love things like this. I was talking about this when I was talking about Neon Genesis Evangelion. I love when there's no chance for the good guys to win.
Yeah.
When the good guys are like rah rah rah, and then the villain is just so incredibly powerful. It's just like it's just like a joke. It's like a parody of narratives because there's just no chance you're gonna win.
Right.
And that's what you have here. Like they're just constantly shooting at this thing, and it's just murdering them. It's just fucking them up so bad.
Nuts. So then it takes out a few of their squad, and then this like loud kind of alarm noise goes on, and it's like and like runs away.
Yeah.
And then Joel McHale comes out. He's got one big red eye.
Yeah.
And he looks like
he's blonde.
Yeah, he's super blonde. Yeah. He kind of reminds me of Robert Redford in God, I don't even know what that movie is. I just know the gif where he's just like nodding in approval. But he looks like they all look very military, and he looks like he was very military, and then is like now wearing a cape and some other shit, like a headband.
He's smoking.
He looks
He's
nuts.
giving them cigarettes.
He's so funny.
There's a funny
come
joke.
see that base you don't think exists.
Yeah. There's a funny bit that's a reference to a internet 1.0 viral video where when it's attacking them, one of them's going, "It's honey badger. Honey badgers don't give a shit."
Honey badger don't give a shit. Yeah,
Which is
like,
ask your grandparents about that viral video.
Yeah, I remember that video. It's like, ew, look at this honey badger.
E-bombs world.
Yeah. So they keep calling it a honey badger, which I thought kind of felt dated, but it was still funny. And then Joel McHale tells them all this stuff about the bear.
It's called Project Barghest, which is, I looked it up. It's Northern English folklore. It's like a wolf monster thing. Yeah, it was made by the U.S. to fight. They just say the enemy.
But he does reference Afghans.
Yeah. Does he? I said that a second ago, but I don't know.
He does. He said he came out and started treating these boys like an Afghani buffet.
Yes. Okay, you're right. All right, and then he started acting unpatriotic.
Yeah.
Which feels, again, ask your grandparents if you're young. If you were alive from like 2001 to 2006, like that post 9/11 language is so triggering to people our age. Like,
right. And the Patriot Act is very triggering.
Yeah. To call somebody unpatriotic was at one point the worst thing you could say to somebody.
Right. It's very McCarthy-like.
Yeah.
And it was sort of this, the united we stand, divided we fall mentality post 9/11, and where everybody had to be like on message.
And it would be a joke, like if I were like, "Oh, do you
freedom
like
fries?"
Yeah, or if I were like, "Hey, do you like Cheerios?" And you're like, "No, I don't like Cheerios." I'd be like, "Oh, you unpatriotic? What are you with them?"
They're made in America.
Yeah.
So he takes them to the base.
The secret base.
It's so funny. He can't get in at first. Yeah. He's like, looks like the secret base is so secret. You can't find it. They go in. There's bodies everywhere.
Yeah. There's also, if you look in the background, there's other experiments. Like there's a robot shark.
Oh, I never noticed that.
In like some tube.
Oh,
and then
so
very
funny.
Clearly there's like a piece of paper on the desk Joe McHale's using. And you see the words laser hog.
All the best minds.
So it's hilarious.
So he starts like cursing and flipping out, and he's like, saying like, let's kill this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, sorry for all the cursing.
Yeah. Which I think he improvised that line.
Yeah, it feels improvised.
And
he's like, come on, let's go get some proper ordnance, which is a word I learned from this short.
Is that right?
Yes. So Bill was like, you didn't know the word ordinance? I'm like, no, I know that word.
But what does it mean in this context?
Ordinance means like a law or decree or whatever. Ordnance, without the I, means weapons, artillery. I did not know that at all.
I didn't know that at all.
So he said, let's go get some proper ordnance. And they go and they get arms. Yeah. It just opens. It's like tons of guns, like heavy artillery, and then sunglasses.
Yeah. This is where I come to jerk off.
So good.
But that's so 80s. Like sunglasses is like such a big thing.
Yes.
Of machismo bullshit.
Love. So they get all tacked out. And then
I guess Joe McHale does something to draw it to them.
Yes.
And it immediately jumps through a wall and rips his head off.
They're waiting for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, okay, here it comes. And then he like opens the door to like let it in. And, and they're just waiting for like so many beats. And then the thing jumps through the wall behind them.
Immediately, like, it's got
Takes
Joe
his
McHale's
head
head
right
in
off.
its teeth. And again, they're just like, they're not winning at all. They have bazookas and it's not working.
It's not working. They have this little robot that's
Mars
taking it out.
Something.
Yeah, Mars robot.
Yeah.
It's so cute. And it's
like,
taking
hey,
on the
guy.
bear. Yeah. And it's getting somewhere.
The Mars bot, yeah.
And then they shoot some crazy gun at it and it takes it out and it looks like it died. And then
Did you think it really died or it was playing possum? Because the second Seth
Green goes to stop. But the sergeant was suspicious.
Then he bites it. Yeah, he says, "Don't."
He's like, "You idiot, no!" And then
he bites his leg.
Immediately
right
takes
off.
his leg right off.
Yeah, him
because all his lights went off. That's our visual cue that it's dead.
Yeah, and then it's back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when Seth Green's character is like dying, he's like, "Tell my wife, anything. I fucked her sister."
And then he laughs hysterically.
And then he laughs as he dies. Amazing. At one point, the Sarge just fucking like he's crazy. He just starts beating it.
Oh, that was really
bazooka.
funny too. So he shoots at. So it's about to kill Macy.
Yeah.
Who we've come to really like.
Yeah.
And so the sergeant like shoots this huge gun at it, and it seems to have taken it out. But then he's like in berserker mode, so he just starts beating it over the head with the cartridge or whatever the gun is, the whole gun.
Yeah.
And smashes it to smithereens.
Yeah.
And then like what noise happens? There's like a little noise, and he gets scared.
Oh yeah.
That was funny. Like he just murdered this grizzly bear, and he's so like keyed up that like this little noise happened. He's like, ah.
Yeah.
So you think they got away?
And then
his little eye pops out,
and then it's a bomb.
It's a bomb.
It's going bim 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 bim, and then
he just goes, fuck.
And then everything turns white, and the last thing you see is like the bear's like head coming,
skull like flying out of the mountain,
coming towards the camera.
Yeah,
it's a fun one. It's a funny
so
one.
much fun. I love the name. The name is as over the top as the whole thing is. Like Kill Team Kill. Like it's
ridiculous.
Great.
I mean, it's so macho. It begins with a dick. It begins with Seth Green's character peeing off of a fucking mountain, and he's like, "Get down there! You're gonna be shot in the dick."
Yeah, but who's chasing them?
Well, it's unclear as to
like where they are even, because it looks like they're in sort of maybe a desert scenario in the very beginning. And they're in the mountains. But then when they get to the top, it looks like a heavily wooded forest.
The same thing's true for in vaulted halls and tombs. Like they're American military, but you're not sure like what exactly their mission is or who they're.
That one, at least, it felt a little more straightforward because, like, in Afghanistan, there's a lot of cave systems. They always talk about, like, how the Taliban would attack and then they'd retreat to these caves that they know, but the American military doesn't know. And they were following insurgents, and, insurgents always, like, a Middle Eastern term. I mean, I guess they always use it, but in our lifetime, it's been for,
right.
Afghan
it's coded
people.
that way.
So insurgents, and they have a hostage, and they're going into a cave.
Yeah.
So I loved Kill Team Kill.
It's a lot of fun.
It was great. And
next up is Swarm.
I did not love Swarm.
I
did not love Swarm. And I will say this as a disclaimer. When I said at the beginning that we love all of this, I actually don't love this.
Really?
I found it so upsetting.
Upsetting in what way?
I am not a bug person. I don't know who is a bug person. But like they're all like clickety clacking these bugs all over the place. They're naked for some reason near the bugs.
Yeah.
They're having sex around all these bugs. Like, I can't imagine. It just made my skin crawl.
But let's talk about art for a second. If the director of this, Tim Miller, wanted you to feel that way, does that make it a successful work?
When she says, "Look at this place," and she floats in the midst of all these horrible bugs.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's a Henry term. Like whenever he sees a tiny, tiny little beetle, he's like, "Mommy, it's a horrible bug." It's like, yes, this is a horrible bug.
Yes.
She goes, "Look at this place. It's warm. It smells good. There's always plenty of food to eat." I'm like, "You're in a hellscape right now.
Yeah.
You don't even know. The monster from Aquila Rift is there, probably."
Yeah. It just, you know what it felt like to me? It's not bad. It felt a little long. It's 17 minutes to get to a point where I kind of knew it was going to go anyway. It could have been shorter and sweeter.
Questions. There's a lot of questions with this one.
Sure.
Which is, you don't need to answer everything. Like the alien race in the beginning that's like dropping off Dr. Avril? Is it
Avril?
Avril? Or Afriel, maybe? I kept calling him like Dr. Afrin.
A-F-R-I-E-L.
Afriel. Yeah. Okay. So they're dropping him off.
Yeah.
By the way, he's dressed like a space king. Like when they're dropping him off, he's got like robe, like the very nice outfit.
How long are they dropping him off for? Like 600 days or something? Yeah.
600 of your days. I love this race. It looks really crazy and weird.
Yeah, they have gold like trimming on them.
Yes.
And they seem very intelligent.
Very intelligent. And they seem to do business with other space folk.
Yeah.
Because they're like, humans are a race we love to do business with. And he's like, but we don't, why do you want to study this? And he's like, well, humans are interested in learning everything we can.
Right.
None of this rang very true to me. So, all right, we approach this thing. It's called the Swarm. It's essentially like a giant asteroid, right? And it's glowing
they like
green.
live in an asteroid,
And it's like all these holes. It kind of looks like a hive. And there's all these different
casts of the Swarm.
But we come to find that they're all different species. They're interplanetary races that have been absorbed by the Swarm.
Well, it's confusing. Like, he goes there and he meets Dr. Murney,
he floats there in like a bubble. Which I'm guessing is sort of like a cast off of this larger ship that dropped him off. And he's in his underwear.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because it's like space, but it's like space and water. It feels like water, but it's space. The physics
in there is like swimming. Like when you see him running from the warrior class later on, at one point he just looks like Michael Phelps. Like for real, he looks like he's swimming through it's very cool. But so he comes there in this bubble ship, but he's got nothing with him besides his undies. And I'm like, okay, I need more information right off the bat.
Well, that's not true. He has with him a fake thing in his leg, right, which gives off a fake pheromone because pheromones are how the Swarm communicate to one another.
Yes.
And he wants to subjugate them.
And this was from pheromone samples that she took, Galena, the doctor.
Yeah. Who's
living in the Swarm in her bra and undies.
Right. And she's Rosario Dawson, who I think is maybe the biggest star that's been on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, all right. So he goes there. He meets up with this doctor who's been living in the Swarm.
She's like the Jane Goodall of Swarm.
Of the Swarm folk. Oh, man.
She's a little too into the Swarm.
She's a little much with the Swarm. The Swarm makes her horny.
She's learned how to like talk to them by like knocking on them.
Yeah, knocks on the bugs' shells and then they poop something out of their mouth and she eats it.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, it tastes good when it's fermented in their stomach.
It's blue. It looks like Baja Blast, which is great. But I bet it doesn't taste like a Baja Blast.
These two go from not liking each other to fucking very quickly.
I mean, what else are you going to do in the Swarm? It's warm. But it always smells good, apparently.
He wants an egg. And she's at first she's like no, but then like she lets him do it because he convinces her that they're mindless. So she's like, I guess if it doesn't hurt the Swarm.
Yeah. So what is the Swarm?
What
is the Swarm?
Getting the egg is what makes her horny.
Yes. Right. When they get the egg, she's like, let's fuck.
The Swarm they're like bees.
Yes.
There's a queen. And then there's different castes. There's warriors, there's workers.
Yes. But they're all different species.
No.
Well, she says
they're a caste, but then there are also parasites. They're different.
Well, there's springtails. She names one. She says these are springtails. She's like, they used to be an interplanetary species. Now they're nothing more than like parasitic savages.
Right.
So there's this precedent that they set in the Swarm where species come along and they used to be impressive. And then they go into that in more detail later on.
Yeah.
But they get absorbed by this thing and then they're just like kind of mindless and they need to kind of do a thing.
Right. But I think that's different from the different casts of the actual Swarm. I think like what happens to the human, I think what happens is if you come to try to fuck with them, they
just take over.
You'll become a parasite of them.
You become a parasite. Right.
Yeah.
So the queen can make these casts, but then other things like that little weird Cthulhu-like moth thing that's flying around eating his vomit at the end. She said this one used to be
it made the galaxy tremble. And look at it now.
Look at it now. Right. So they absorb a lot. There's a lot going on in that Swarm.
Yeah.
But to what end?
To what end for them?
To what end for them? It's just a homeostasis. It's just a biome.
Yeah.
But what about the swarm does he want to adapt for humanity?
All right, this is what's interesting.
Okay.
He first says something very vague where he says, hold on, everybody. I gotta look at my notes. He says he wants to harness the swarm's abilities to help, quote, bring order to the chaos of human expansion. So at first I thought this was a eugenics thing. Like the way that the swarm are able to create these chaos, maybe he wants to do that with people and control people. But then
he wants the egg.
Yeah, so then when
he wants a little queen.
Yeah, and then she says you want to breed a slave race. So then I think he wants them for construction, to like make things for people.
Or like farm for humans. Or like this is how we're going to get food. Because human expansion, I imagine, interplanetary, right? So like maybe on planets where there's no food, we can use the swarm to like figure out a way to make food. Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah. Because they just survive.
Right. By the way,
weird.
You could read this as a prequel to Bad Traveling.
Interesting. Okay.
You could read it that way. It's not meant to be that way, but you could read it that way if you want to have fun with yourself.
I mean, if you want, if you don't want to be boring. Yeah. I had so many just like technical questions about this. I'm like, okay, so he takes the vein out of his leg, and it has the synthetic pheromones that
It's gold, by the way. Gold. Motif.
Oh, that's right, it's gold. So these have these synthetic pheromones. It's going to help them turn some of the bugs that are in this horrible place into workers for them.
Right. He's experimenting to see if you can control them.
Right.
And he's also going to get them to bring him an egg.
Yes.
Which is what fucks up everything.
Right. So he's like, this was synthesized from the samples that you sent us. Yeah. I'm like, how the fuck did she send anything?
I don't know.
What?
A bubble came.
What?
I'm
so mad.
You get so caught up in these things.
Well, if you're going to write a story, then write a goddamn story.
The bubble mail came.
Bubble delivery. Amazon Prime still exists. And
she's a scientist. She don't live there. She's there by some grant or something.
No, I know.
She's definitely sending things back.
Where does she keep her research? How is she tracking any of this? How is she recording it? She doesn't even have like a tape recorder. What is she doing?
We don't know. We don't see. She might have a little room with something.
We don't see it.
She's like swims around and like writes
swims around
papers.
In her underwear, doing nonsense.
Does peer review.
Knocking on bugs, eating shit that falls out of them.
Yeah. She's gone native for sure.
I reject her. I don't like this. I'm not going to approve this grant.
You are a shoddy scientist.
I need to see a line budget.
Yeah.
What are you doing in there?
Dr. Vakeman, you are a very poor scientist.
No, it's okay. Where do you want to go next with this? Because
the next part,
Do you want to talk about the racial aspect of it? That these are two scientists of color, and they're talking about enslaving.
No,
you're like, no, I don't want to talk about.
No. I want to hear you talk about it.
So,
because I
like we,
you know, I don't see color, so I didn't even think about it. I rolled my eyes. That was a joke. No, for some reason that didn't occur to me. The idea of like two people of color being involved in slavery didn't occur to me until you just said it.
So something that struck me about this, and I mean, I guess as much as I disliked it, it is an achievement because it had me thinking about it for a while, where I'm like, the way Dr. Afriel talks about humanity, he's like, I may not live to see the triumph of my race. Yeah. Like it seems like once we got into interplanetary, it's almost like the racism that was inherent to our own people fell away, and that humans was just the race and everybody else, it was us against everyone else. So he talks about it almost as if he's not a black man. Right? Like he's in the ruling class. Like this is an achievement of his people, meaning just humans are his people. Right. And I'm like, he's either just very altruistic or like there has been a true shift.
Right. It's so far in the future that people identify closely with just their own planet.
Yes. And she is also a woman of color, and she's saying, like, how can you're talking about enslaving them. Right. How can you say that?
Well, something that feels like slavery. Because you think is when he says, oh, they're mindless. They're not going to be looking up at the stars and hoping for their independence. Right. Which feels like a slave owner being like, "Oh, they never had it so good. They
Right,
love it."
right.
Like, it felt like
and
that excuse
immediately
is
we
bullshit.
know that it's not that they're mindless because the springtail that's like food. The work didn't give food.
Right, it
Is
comes
showing
and speaks to it,
concern. Is like seems to have personality traits.
Right.
It seems like a sweet little bug that I hate.
Right. Adorable. No, right. It becomes a thing of like
He comes in and a bug bites his ankle. I'm like, I'm gone. I am gone. So I'm in and I'm out like Abe Simpson. I'm just boop right out the door. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Immediately, no.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. This swarm really got to me. So we haven't even gotten to the worst part.
Right. So because of the fooling around he's doing.
Yeah. Because she says.
Yeah.
The warrior caste is
Yeah.
very deadly, but only if you mean harm to their queen or any of her eggs. So they steal an egg, which they don't mean to
makes
do
them
harm
horny.
to. Oh, man, that egg makes them
fuck.
real horny. Where
And
are
she gets
they?
pregnant.
Oh, right.
Right.
Is she pregnant though?
Yes, because that will be their first human slave.
Because when the intelligence or the swarm. Okay, so the warrior bugs attack. I thought he was killed, but he wasn't. He was just like
That's fun thing because it's like a trap. They're like, come here, and then like he gets attacked.
yeah.
I think those little guys were in on it.
Oh, okay. So he gets attacked. They mess him up real good.
Yeah. And he immediately as he's acting like he cares about them, but immediately his disdain for them comes out and he's like, "Come and get me, you fuckers!"
You mindless motherfucker. Yeah. He just wants what he can get from them.
Yeah.
And so they leave him bloodied and crazy, and they bring him to this thing.
At first, I thought it was the queen, but it's not the queen.
It's not the queen.
This intelligent.
She says, "I'm only weeks old."
Yeah.
So and when we see the queen and we see them taking like little weird eggs from her, Rosario Dawson's character says she can create any type of worker that's necessary. Whatever the swarm needs, she makes.
Yeah, this intellect
So this thing
is
was needed to protect itself from them.
Right. It says something like, "What you've been doing triggered
My creation.
Yeah.
And it looks like a
this-
brain.
Yeah. And it's using Rosario Dawson's body.
Now,
to
is she
speak through.
dead? Because she can't be
No,
dead.
because at one point...
But the tentacle things, because it's all like
coming out of her
tentacles
brain,
are
yeah.
in her head. Like they're inside her skull.
She's not dead because at one point to threaten him, she
She-
gives up her control of her and Rosario Dawson's
It's
character
like,
starts
"Oh!"
screaming
Yeah,
in pain.
yeah. She's in
real
bad
fucked
shape.
up.
She
It's
looks
real fucked
gross too, and also like her eyes
It's
are rolled
very
back in her
HR
head.
First, it's very HR Geiger, where it's like what's human and what's machine. It's all like very wet, and then but it's also like vaginal too. Like she's in front, and it's also very Madonna too. Like she's or Christ like she's like almost looks crucified. It's very interesting imagery.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a good way to put it.
They basically say this intelligence says, we're anything that comes up against us, we assimilate it, we absorb it, and it works for us eventually.
And he's like, we're human beings, and it says something like intelligence is not
a winning survival trait.
Yeah,
which I would say is sort of that overlying message of it's really like cooperation and all of us working together has allowed us to exist for millions of years. Like this swarm, they say the swarm has been around for millions of years. And she says in 1,000 years, who will even remember humanity? Yeah. Yeah. And then you see that like throughout Three Robots, like tech millionaires, they're supposed to be like the smartest people on the planet, but it didn't help them.
Right.
They couldn't work together. They couldn't figure out the fish. Like it just, so that's something that I've been seeing playing through a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the thing that I didn't understand. So she is pregnant?
I believe so.
Because it says like, and you two are of perfect breeding age, or like you're a perfect breeding pair.
I believe she was. Right. I think she's talking about the two humans.
No, I know, but I didn't take that to imply that she was already pregnant. I took that to imply like she's going to make them breed.
Oh, maybe that's true. Because she says you can either do it
or I'll clone you and I'll just raise the child myself. And then she's like bothersome.
Yeah. The intelligence is basically like, what you try to do to us, we're going to do to you. Mm-hmm. And she points out that moth thing is being like, this thing also tried to fuck with us. And now it is a parasite. Humans will be a parasite of us because of what you've done. And he says, I accept
I
your
accept
challenge.
your challenge. It's like, what?
But he's fucked. We're fucked.
I guess.
Or
like
or
everyone
not
with a
all of
brain
us.
will just avoid the swarm.
Right, exactly. We're not
And
all
just,
fucked.
yeah,
but,
those two people are.
But there will be human drones in
The
swarm.
Yes, there
as
will
part of
be.
the swarm.
I took that to mean that, but I didn't take it as like this is a big threat to humanity as a whole.
No, I don't think so.
He's like, we won't become parasites. And she's like, we'll see.
Yeah, of course you will.
Yeah.
But
still, aren't those guys coming back in a few hundred days? Like
2 years, basically.
Yeah. But how long have they been there already? We see a beard. So
Yeah.
time has passed.
They're going to come back and see a bunch of human slaves and be like, ooh, shit went south.
But why can't they leave then at that point when the bubble arrives?
Who?
The humans that are
Oh,
there.
no. Like the one that was once had the galaxy trembling and now it is eating your vomit.
Yeah.
These things will look like humans, but will be they'll be
What I mean
bred
is
to be-
600 days.
Yeah.
She is a human woman.
Yeah.
She takes 9 months to gestate.
Oh, I think I don't think she might be she's not walking out of there. Her brain
she's
is
done.
open.
No. I know she's done. But like, if she says I can clone you, or you could just breed.
Yeah.
It's still gonna take a while. Like human.
Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Listen.
The swarm might have a way of speeding things up.
We don't know. I guess that's true.
I could see him getting away.
She's not getting away.
She's not getting away.
If they pull those things out of her head, she's dead.
And if he fights, they're going to kill him. So the
God.
only one that could possibly get away is him. But listen,
And
they're
maybe whatever
doing human
baby she
parasites
puts
no
out.
matter what. That's happening. That is on the menu and that is happening.
Right, because she's gonna. Right, so even if he gets away, they're gonna clone Rosario Dawson anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or clone him because they have
Yeah.
genetic material.
right.
And then he's gonna be like, just stay away from the swarm. Nuke
Yeah.
the swarm. Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well, that was a gross.
it's a gross one.
And it's so funny because, like,
Yeah.
we're looking at Jennifer Yu Nelson saying, like, oh, wow, this is such a departure from Pop Squad and a very big departure from Kung Fu Panda. But, like, Tim Miller went from, like, Deadpool to the Drowned Giant to Swarm.
And then also he did like that last Terminator movie.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We should say Swarm. We say it's directed by Tim Miller, adapted by Miller and again Philip Gillette, based on a story by Bruce Sterling. It's by Blur Studio, Blur again.
Okay.
And the icons are a heart, another heart, and a crustacean creature.
Okay. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry this is taking so long, but I have to pee again.
Hey gang, while Janine starts to pee for the next 7 days straight, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of PCMC. We will be back next Wednesday with the second part of our discussion on Love, Death, and Robots Volume 3, as well as our choices for the best of Love, Death, and Robots Volumes 1 through 3. We are naming our favorite episodes, our picks for best monsters, our picks for funniest episodes, and so on. Thank you for listening to PCMC. We come out every Wednesday without fail. We end every episode by saying, go bye-bye.